So let's bring in Ivan. We said we would. Let's see what's going on with Mr. Ivan FX.
Hey,
What's going on, Ivan?
It's all right. It's alive.
What's the weather like in Kenya right now?
Oh, it's sunny. It's been raining and raining and raining, and now it's finally sunny because I came on.
Yeah, it's been rainy in the United States as well. Well, where we're from, at least. We've been. It was like a rainy weekend. So, not so rainy compared to, I guess, the gold market, which is shooting up here today. Frank and I were just discussing the COT showed a nice little increase there in institutional interest. Do you have any thoughts on the gold market, Ivan?
Is that what you guys paid me for?
Yes. Whatever, we're paying you for your opinions here on the gold market. What do you think?
Okay. So you pay me in gold diamonds, right? I would say that increasingly that it fell pretty hard on Friday, so that kills any bullishness in me though. But yes, it goes a bit higher. But I think until it breaks 2060, which I believe is absolutely not going to happen anytime soon, then neutral.
Really, you don't think we could take out those highs?
We went to 2085 and we are lower. Why? That is an exhaustion. That is, well, just technically or practically supply and demand. A lot of people has been taken up by that one, mostly because we haven't gone higher. There has become more demand, and how do you know there's more demand? That we go above 2060. Now, is this a good price? Not necessarily, because we went all the way down to 2000. And if you're supposed to hold a continuation of bullish trend technical analysis, we should have held 2025. We should have held those lows minimally.
Yeah, that's true. And to your point, so let's take a look at our retracement here. So 2025 is just around the 50% retracement. To your point, I mean, we did have a pretty steep sell-off, and this was sort of kind of the idea of rate hikes are not off the table. When that got thrown out, the gold market really took a nosedive, especially with some of the regional banks rebounding really strong on Friday. So it's an interesting take. I'm still bullish. We'll see if I'm right about it. I've got my trade on. Ivan, if you just talked everyone into selling their gold and you stop my trade out, I'm going to be really upset with you. So, I'm coming at you with that. But it's okay. That's why we have this show. We have different opinions, which I like. So,
hey,
Ivan, what are you looking at this week?
Do you have any questions about any of our products or services? Right now, members of the A1 Trading team are standing by, waiting to assist you. You can head over to our website, a1trading.com, and click the icon in the bottom right-hand corner to chat with one of our team members live. You can also go to a1trading.com/contact and fill out the Contact Us form, and someone will get back to you shortly. We have our helpful and friendly members of our support staff ready to chat with you anytime Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern Time. So what are you waiting for? If you have any questions, feel free to chat with us live right now on the A1 Trading website.
I haven't said anything wrong about buying gold. I said, if we're going to continue bullish, not sell. If we're going to continue buying, we have to have prove that we're actually going to go higher.
Fair enough. If it does break those highs, then we would probably, I mean, if we break those highs, we'd probably all sort of, from a technical analysis perspective, be pretty convinced. But again, I understand there was a lot of sell pressure that came in over on that Friday move. So we'll see how it develops. Ivan, what are you watching personally? You still looking at NZD pairs?
Yeah, you can see my screen before you shift, don't you? No, I'm just told by Altech to look at Euro New Zealand, and I wanted to buy this one still, as much as it falls. But yeah, it's currently bearish and really fantastic. Buy. So yeah, I'm in my seasonality kind of world. So in now my different world, even though I can see Euro going higher, Pound going higher, everything is dollar bearish as I've expected it. But New Zealand was supposed to go bearish, so I'm still hoping and praying. So that is Euro New Zealand.
Show us your.
Yeah.
So you said Euro New Zealand. What about Euro New Zealand? Are you looking to be a buyer, looking to be a seller? What are you thinking?
Yeah, buy. Yeah, I'm thinking I wanted. Well, I tried buying it. Well, I did buy it. Here, and I'm like, well, that's bearish. We all can see that there's nothing. There's no. You didn't be a rocket science for that. I just needed to make a new higher high above 75, and then I
Okay.
can be rebound.
Okay.
Until then, I have a vacation. Cheers.
Fair enough. Frank, what about you? What
Basically,
do you? So you mentioned gold. What else are you watching, Frank?
So I'm also looking at pound, just because of the bank rate statement coming out this Thursday. Just looking at the pound dollar on the daily, so it's hitting like some pretty good resistance here. Could be a double top, but I think going into Thursday, it's probably going to be kind of bullish for the pound at least. And once the announcement happens, it's kind of chaos from there. But maybe sentiment will pick up this week and they'll start buying into the pound more. So I'm kind of bullish bias.
So would you be looking for a break and retest kind of entry, or are you looking for a pullback? How would you play pound? Because I agree. I mean, I'm generally more bullish on the pound than the dollar at this time, due to Ivan made that point last week. We discussed a little bit about their very high levels of inflation. How would you be looking to enter a market like that? Well,
either or. A pullback from this high would take us down to, I don't know, probably the 1.258s. That would be a decent, I think, entry to the long side, because you can have a tight stop from there. And then if you wanted to anticipate or kind of wait on like a break above that level, which looks like the 1.26s, would be, something promising. And you can, I guess what I like to do is I like to trade breakouts a lot. So I know you like to wait for the breakout and retest, but I think I like the momentum from a breakout. So even if it does come back and retest, like, you can always re-enter. So I kind of like that play.
Right.
So either or.
Yeah, and there's just different ways to play the same move, really. I mean, if you're a breakout trader, you're a breakout trader, and as long as your stop loss is in place, sometimes the break happens and it just never comes back, right? And those are actually, to play devil's advocate against my own style of entry, those are the types of moves that usually continue the best, right? They just go and they go and they go. So especially great for trailing stops. But I just personally prefer to wait for that retest, because I feel that I can sometimes get a better risk to reward. But like you said, sometimes it's worth the initial try, and if it pulls back, you could still re-enter and get that second try again. So very cool. So yeah, pound. And Frank, I'll show you guys, for those who were not in the stream with us last week when Ivan was discussing it, we talked about inflation numbers for the UK and comparing them to sort of the other majors, majors, right? Looking at the European area and looking at the United States. In terms of inflation, what we've seen is that the UK, and Ivan, I'd love to get your, what we're looking at, right? We've got inflation between the UK in red, Europe in yellow, and US in the blue. Paint us a picture in terms of the euro, the pound, the dollar. What is happening here?
Well, let's say it this way. With 10% inflation, 10.1, which is the latest one, it is definitely more difficult to rent, more difficult to have a nice living as we used to. Well, you have now Europe, you now have America that is peaking that, but there's still elements of the society or the economy that still has gone like 20, 30, 40% up for the past year or the past years. So in that sense, people still feel inflation, even though it comes a bit down. It's more like a statistics for generally, because it's still very much higher prices of cost of living. And unfortunately, that leads to more suffering and leads to higher interest rates, which is necessary to be increasing. for us to get down this inflation, and it has to be more expensive to buy stuff. So it's actually quite sad. I would say quite sad that pound is back up again at 10%. Nobody wants it to be at 10%, but especially now we're going into summer, we should at least have some reduction in some the key drivers, which is food and electricity. But
Right.
we have to see.
Yeah, no, and so the thing is, Ivan made that point about interest rates, right? At the end of the day, currency traders especially, that word is very important. What the central banks decide to do with interest rates, which we do have, of course, on Thursday, the UK Bank of England will be reporting their rate decision, but also, just like the others, potentially forward guidance on what they see it going. And almost certainly when you have such high levels of inflation, fundamental traders know that this often leads to strong trends. And we learned that as a community, myself included, watching firsthand with this dollar move that we saw in 2022, where interest rates had to keep going and going and going, and the dollar was that safe haven. It just kept going. Well, now what we're seeing is that there's sort of a pause mentality from the Fed. The market is sort of calling for, hey, we might be sort of on the cusp of just pausing rate hikes. Whereas you've got the UK still struggling with double-digit inflation levels, which are going to continue to push, in my opinion, and Frank as well. The pound is poised to go higher, I think. So I personally like the idea of pullbacks on the pound. Frank made that point of 1.258. Right, so 1.258 comes in right around here. So I like that general area as well. So I'm watching for pound pullbacks. I really like it against the yen personally, especially, in terms of central banks. You sort of have, at least from what we can tell here, the UK seems to be very, very hawkish. You've got probably next the European area, and then you've got the US, and then of course you've got Japan, which has come out and openly even been dovish. So it's an interesting dynamic. And so if I'm trading that, I generally am going to be looking for the most hawkish, the most dovish in terms of central banks. So pound against the Japanese yen might be an interesting one. And Ivan, you talked about pound yen. What's the update there from last week? Maybe we can see your chart on pound yen. Do you have any thoughts there?
Well, it was supposed to come a bit down, I remember, and it just went. That was my trade plan. I knew how high, come back to support, and it kind of never did so. So that was the direction, at least, correct, but the entry was never there. But definitely once you start breaking that high and those highs, we are short-term bullish in this little area here. But when we come up here, we are now facing resistance. So I don't want to buy it here, but I definitely would like to some kind of like that, so I can get a better price on British pound, Japanese yen.
Don't forget to check out the links in the description if you want our broker recommendation, access to our free Discord, free EdgeFinder, or want to chat with us on Telegram. Remember, you can watch us live in the markets every morning starting at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time, and we have lots more free trading tools and content available on our website, a1trading.com. Thanks for watching.